I don't know, somehow I just feel strongly, even though I don't get this some very strong experiences, that I still get so much benefit that influence my life on a daily level, and I can manifest things and everything, even though I don't have some super powerful experiences yet.
You know, you know how they say there's the fast track of enlightenment, which is violent and dramatic, and there's the slow, progressive way of enlightenment that has no drama, no violence, and it's just something that just slowly happens into your life. That's what's happening to you.
Well, I have the
Because
drama
this is
and
happening
the
to you
violence.
over, yeah, this is happening to you over months. When it happened to me, it
Yeah.
happened in 48 hours, and it was violent. It was
Mm.
dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just interesting that I still get. I just feel that even I did this meditation. I know it made some effect. I can just feel it. I know it. So yeah, just wanted to mention that.
There's no such thing as a bad meditation, they say.
Yeah. What about you? How is it?
I liked it. I've been doing deeper and deeper meditations because I'm preparing for Cancun, and I don't want to get sick in after this retreat. So I'm preparing myself to go
When you
deep.
say deeper and deeper meditations, do you mean that you just spend a longer time per day meditating, or how?
Yes, yes. And I have gotten to a point where I don't need to I meditate for at least 3 to 4 hours a day. So it's not like I'm not meditating, but I've gotten to a point where I'm meditating even when I'm not meditating. So I made two videos today in my pool. One was next to the pool, one was in the pool. And I spent practically all day outside today. I was grounding myself. I was connecting to the source. I was in the water. I was by the water. And I was remembering how dramatically I changed, and the shift in me was so dramatic when in the last retreat, and I'm going into this retreat with 2,000 advanced meditators. They're going to be next to me, right? And I know it's going to be very, very dramatic because, yeah.
You
So
just feel it?
I have it. Yes, I feel it. I'm already feeling it
Mm.
with the I'm because I'm already talking to people that are going there because we have our own Facebook group. All the people that are going to Cancun, we have a Facebook group, and we're talking constantly. And I've been talking to them as they meditate and as I meditate, and some people are scared. Half of the people have never done anything like this. The other half are experts. They're very comfortable with it. But even they understand that having 2 or 3 mystical experiences per day is pretty dramatic to your body,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Now I see what you mean, but that you're preparing yourself because you don't want to get sick. It's going to be too much. So I see that you're like investing more and more time per day to prepare yourself.
Yes. So I created an intention for my Cancun, and I also created a meditate intention for my follow-up, which is going to be in Dallas, Texas in April. So I'll come back from Cancun in March, and then the following month I'll go to Texas for the follow-up. And the follow-up is a place where they almost don't even allow you to sleep. It's just It's just a continuous, very, very deep and long and dramatic types of
How
meditation,
many
which is,
days? How many
it's
days
only
is
4 days.
follow-up?
All of it's only 4 days.
Hmm.
It's as if the moment you start the follow-up meditation, you just step into the unknown, and you're sort of outside of space-time for 4 days straight.
What did you
And
mean when you said that they don't allow you to sleep much?
no,
What
it
did you?
just, but what I mean by that is that even in the 7-day retreat, you don't get 8 hours of sleep. You don't even get 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
But in the advanced follow-up, you don't even get 4 hours of sleep or
Hmm.
3 hours of sleep. You maybe you'll take a nap per day or something like that. So
Hmm.
I spoke to some of the people that went to the advanced follow-up, but the idea is that you want to keep the energy so high, you want to continuously be in the quantum, so that when you leave in 4 days, you don't even recognize your old self.
Yeah.
And it's completely dramatic over and over again. Like when I left my 7-day retreat, when I came back out of I didn't even think about the outside world for 7 days. And when I came back outside and I sat in my car, nothing felt the same. Nothing smelled the same. Nothing I would touch. Nothing felt anything. Nothing was the same. All my senses were so heightened. I was not the same. And when I was driving, everything just felt so strange. There was no judgment. There was no anger. There was no, as if all of the lower vibrational thoughts even are not even allowed to cross my mind.
And when this
Which,
happened, this feeling, when is this time period you're talking about?
I'm talking about November 12th, 2023.
Oh, okay, very specific. Yeah, I see. Hmm.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm an OCD guy. Okay. I'm very specific. I'm very organized. I'm very neat. I like to know things and be in control and all this stuff. And the fact that I had to completely let go of control was a big deal for me.
It's two opposite things. That's why it's very interesting.
So the fact that I had to be in the unknown was a very big deal for me. I was like,
Mm.
unknown? What is that?
Yeah, yeah.
I need to know everything. So it was a big deal. And it changed everything. The perspectives changed. And now I'm gonna do two more in the next 2 months. I'll do one at the end of this month and one at the end of next month. Yeah.
Follow up. Yeah,
Yeah. So we'll see. I'll capture it all. And
amazing.
but what I really wanted to, I don't know if you guys saw my first video that I made today, which was
I
by the
saw the
pool.
first one by the pool, but second one I didn't see.
Yeah, so the first one is when I talked about the lady that owns the pet salon grooming
Yeah, I wanted to ask
business.
about it. Wow. Yeah.
And
Tell me, Tom.
it blew my mind, right? And she calls me and she's like, I'm embarrassed to tell you that because nobody wants to talk about their cysts, right? Fine.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she says, every time you walk into the salon, the whole salon just changes. And I was like, what does that mean? She's like, everything in the salon just changes when you walk in. Can you be more specific?
Yeah.
Jesus, I don't know what that means. And she doesn't know a lot of English, so it's very hard for me to understand her. She speaks Portuguese.
Hmm.
So I was like, fine, go on, tell me more. And she's like, who are you? I was like, I hope this is not a real question. I think this is a rhetorical question, right? I'm listening, go on, you know?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and then she does that a lot. And then she said,
So,
you hugged me, you touched me, and you touched the the back, and you touched my cyst and it hurt, whatever. And she didn't tell me that it was hurting or it
Mm-hmm.
was even there. But she knows my channel. So when it went away the next day, and she had a surgery set up for that because it was a big deal. For the rest of you guys that haven't watched my video, it was a deep cyst, and she needed a surgery to remove it, and she had a surgery scheduled, and it went away the next day, so she didn't need it. Um, and and she calls me. She was scared. She wanted to confirm and make sure that it was something real, and then once it was completely gone and the pain was completely gone and she couldn't even find it anymore, the fear went away. And when she was just emotional and she called me, and I didn't know how to respond. I'm just listening.
Yeah.
And she's like, I always feel different when you're near me. Something in me just gets light. I just feel lighter, as if like I'm just losing weight when I'm near, every time you're near me. I just feel lighter, like there's helium in me. Um, I don't know what that means, obviously. I don't I don't know how to translate that, but she, it's not her first language. English is not her first language. So, but she's always pushing me into these riddles. Like, fine,
Yeah.
you know.
Tell me about the cysts. Like it's like kind of fat tissue or something that
So
what
so
is it
it
actually?
so imagine a pimple that is so deep
Mm-hmm.
that it is at the deepest level of your skin
Mm-hmm.
that separates the meat from even the epidermis layer. So it is separating your skin from the rest of your body, and it is in
Mm-hmm.
the muscle now. So it's between the muscle and the skin, or something like that. It's very deep.
Mm-hmm.
It is not something you can clear, or you can poke at, or you can, it's very deep, and it's very painful. It is something that they have to really deep cut, and then they have to stitch it up, and it leaves a scar, and it's
Mm-hmm.
painful, and they have to give you medicine. They have to make you dizzy. It is quite a pain in the butt to get rid of it,
That's
for
why
for
I'm asking
doctors.
you. That's why I'm asking you
That's why it's
because
called surgery. That's why you have to actually, it's an actual
yeah,
surgery.
how
But
surprising it was for you that it disappeared, considering that you have some medical experience, that cyst just disappeared. How surprising was that for you?
well, the reason it didn't, well, it surprised me that I didn't do any coherence healing on her. I just gave her a hug.
Mm.
That was the shocking part. But then I understand that this is possible because I've heard it so many times. I've met people that in the presence of advanced meditators, things just happen for people.
Yeah.
But it was a shocking testimony that it happened with me, because I don't think of myself as a special person, right? So the fact that it happened, I was just like in shock. I was in awe, and I was just a little, tell me more, I'm
Yeah.
listening. What the heck? you know? and and you know how we had Alex, you were on the call. We had Luna, something. There was the girl from UK,
Lena, yeah.
Lena, and Lena, yes. And remember how she could see the aura, yours and mine.
Mm-hmm.
So some people become sensitive to auras, and some people become sensitive to this. So what does that mean? They become sensitive to being a to receiving as well,
Mm.
and that can benefit them. But then there's this other part, that when you're in the presence of somebody that is able to heal you, then you can have spontaneous remissions. As long as you're sort of, as long as you have some kind of openness towards this person, because she has been watching my channel. She's never meditated, but she was very curious about the things that I've been saying. And she's like, what you say feels really good, even though it makes no sense, but it feels really good. That's why she said that it feels so nice when you walk into my business. And it changes my energy when you walk into my business. So when I met them at the bar, and I'm just ordering food to go, and I'm just, grabbing a beer and I'm just having a food to go. I'm waiting for my food to come to me. And I met them and I gave her a hug. And she said, it hurt me when you hugged me because you just touched my cyst and it was very painful. And I didn't want to tell you because I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
And then she said, I went home that day and I was thinking about why I didn't tell you about it, because I heard you talk about coherence healing and the fact that our autonomic nervous system can heal us. And then she said the next morning I woke up and I didn't feel any pain. And she went into the shower and she because it was painful enough where she had to be careful touching her and changing her clothes or whatever. And she said the next day none of that was happening. So she was a little surprised and she was looking for it. Now she's looking for the cyst as opposed to avoiding the cyst. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not surprised by the toll that you just by that giving a hug that it made that effect, because and also what she was saying about how her energy changes when you walk into her salon. Because if we take into consideration, for example, YouTube videos that you're making, and when we watch them, and many people told you also this, like from our group, how it changes our energy somehow. Like sometimes we see your aura, sometimes we don't, doesn't matter. Sometimes like that's not important, but it affects our energy so much, raises our energy so much just by watching the video, So I'm
Yes.
not I'm not surprised at all that you gave her this effect. But still, it's very surprising. It's amazing to hear at the
And
same time.
this is happening with people that are not part of the active community. Something Memory said that really touched me was that we have only known each other for a few months. And she's
Yeah.
like, she wonders what is going to happen when we're talking to each other 12 months from now, when the
Yeah.
transformations have occurred. We are completely different. We have done some miracles, seen some miracles, witnessed some miracles, right? And I'm bringing new things to not only to you guys, but to me. And I'm going to, and as I travel, I'm going to meet you guys. So she was curious about that too, and she has some personal goals for herself, just like you guys do, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very curious about that.
Yeah.
Freedom,
That's
what the couple's name? Sorry, Jeff,
Jeff
Jeff
and
and Jackie.
Jackie, and Jeff. How was the meditation for you guys? This was the first time you guys meditated with us.
Yes, correct.
Very peaceful.
Very peaceful.
Well, where do you guys live?
We live in
State?
Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Oklahoma. Gotcha. Okay.
where the wind comes flowing down the plain.
But I was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana.
We're both from New Orleans.
Very nice to meet you guys. And some of us can go on our little, rants because we've known each other and we meditate pretty much every day together. Like Alex and myself and Paria and Khalil and
Sure.
Muna Mahela, and we have a couple other ones. We have people from, Alex is from Montenegro, Khalil's from Germany, Paria's from Iran. Mahela, can you remind us where you're from? Beata is from UK, and then Judith's from UK too, I think. And then we have Kyoko from Japan, and we have Nadia from Madagascar, and we have a couple
wow.
people from India. And then we have a couple, Anna and Mike from Canada, Memory from Texas, and a couple other people. But it's quite a global community. I'm very happy you guys joined us.
What part of Florida do you live in? We used to live in Lakeland
Tampa.
several years
Lakeland.
ago.
Lakeland is only 45 minutes away from me.
Are you a Tampa area or?
I'm in North Tampa. Have you ever been to, I don't know if this business was still in the place. There's this really nice cocktail bar in Lakeland called Riviera or
No, we talking 30-something years ago, we lived there.
Yeah.
oh, that was a long time ago. Never mind.
Yeah.
Riviera, was it like Riviera or something? Like they make the best. I have never been to a bar that has made old fashioned the way they do. And
really?
they told me, and I've never had a old fashioned. And I walked in and they said, we have our own personal 105-year-old
Recipe?
recipe for our whiskey, old fashioned. Would you like to try it? And I said, sure. And I had one and I was like, are you kidding me? This is unbelievable. So I had a really good time at Lakeland.
I wanted to ask you something that was back to a question that Alex had initially, and he said that about the meditation. You tagged up that you said you had a 48-hour experience and it was very violent. What is it on the person that depends whether you go slow or fast in the change? Is it your subconscious what you allow, or you know what I'm referring to earlier in the discussion about
No,
So-
I understand what you're referring to back in the conversation, but are you asking what makes it violent, or are you asking about the person and how does that affect?
well, I mean, does the
Why do
person
some people
have it,
go
some
through-
people don't?
go through a different one than others?
Is it because some people want it and allow it? Because even though it might be painful, it's like I want to get this, I want to get to the next level quickly. So I guess that's the point of the question. Why does it happen with some and not
I'm
with
going
others?
to attempt to answer this question. I have a feeling I know the answer, but I'm going to try to figure out how to translate that into words.
Okay.
So I'm going to give a little 30-second story and then I'll explain further.
Okay.
So I went into retreat completely blind. I didn't do the progressive workshop. I didn't, read anything, even though I was learning a lot about spirituality through podcasts and everything else. But my daughter lost her mother, and I wanted to figure out how to fill the gap between the fact that I need to make up for the fact that she will never know what the love of a mother would feel like.
Right.
And I wanted to fill that gap for her, and I didn't know how. And then Dr. Joe came to Florida.
Okay.
And I was like, maybe he has the answer. And I just walked in. I didn't know what we were going to do. I didn't know what he was going to talk about, even though he had this whole thing that I could have read and listened to all these lectures that he wants us to listen to, whatever. I didn't listen to any of that. I just drove down there, handed my keys to the valet guy, checked into the hotel, and went straight to Dr. Joe and met his staff, talked to the people. And when he said, for the next 7 days, I want you to surrender. I want you to just trust me. Just give up everything. Just trust me. Just and I'm a United States Army veteran.
Right.
I know what it's like to completely trust and just give up and just go through the boot camp and
Sure.
and just go through all that. I know what it's like. I've done it once before. So I did exactly that. And to my surprise, on day 1 and 2, I was with different people. And starting day 3, I was with the same people all the way through. But from day 1 and 2, I was with people that were there that had different various reasons why they were there. But day 2, I started to feel shakes and tears and all this, and it didn't make sense to me because I was really mad at myself. The moment tears came down, I was like, come on, I'm being a bitch right now. And I was like, you're not supposed to cry. There's people here. And
Yeah.
and I spoke to his staff afterwards. I spoke to the Dr. Joe's staff afterwards. And they slapped some sense into me. And I made a promise. I made some decisions that night. I stood up, I went to bed with some decisions that night. And day 3, I walked in, and I've never done this before. This was the first time I've ever done this in my life, where I walked in and I said, I will allow whatever happens to me in front of whoever it happens to, and I will not care. And that was my enlightenment day. I left my body. I had a mystical experience. Everything magical happened. And there was just fireworks all day. There was just fireworks. But can a person do that on their own? I don't know if they can do that in one decision. I did that because I was around 1,500 advanced meditators.
Sure, you're drawn from their energy. Sure.
Yes. So the roof was already getting explosions, right? I was just in the middle of explosions. So I became the explosion. And what does that do? It changes your genetic destiny, your biological destiny, your electromagnetic destiny. And after that, your senses get so heightened that when you step outside of the ballroom, you're seeing a new world. You see people in a different light. You see right through them. When you look at someone in their eyes, you're seeing right into their soul. And when you do walking meditations after that, it's as if when you look at another person, you can. I had this moment in the middle of a walking meditation where I saw myself from another person's eyes. I looked at myself I looked at this person, and then I looked at myself from that person's eyes.
Wow.
And I saw this unity I saw this unity of consciousness, that this separation is an illusion.
Yes.
And it was just, I was like, this person is just me pushing some part of me away, and then looking at myself from that point of view. It was so wild. And it just goes up and down, right? Because when you experience something so dramatic, you're having this giant download that is happening. And then what happens is you come back to your senses a little bit, because that's where your body has to recalibrate. What does that mean? Your nervous system has to recalibrate before you have another download or another dramatic experience. So people get scared a little bit when they come back to senses. They feel really nice, and then they come back and they're like, wait a minute, well, I lost it. No, you didn't lose it. Your body just needs to recalibrate a little bit before you just go deep again, and just allow it to happen. It's always these waves, right? It's as if you are the entire ocean, but the moment there's this one wave, you start to feel like you're separated from the ocean. You're not. It's an illusion that you just became a wave. You're still the ocean. So
Okay.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. You are quite a storyteller, David.
Yeah, a really nice experience to hear it like that. I think
Yeah.
it's the hardest thing for me to do, to surrender, but inspiring to do that more every day and every day.
yeah, there were
Yeah.
how people will judge themselves based on the people that they're next to. when they're, imagine if you're around 2,000 people and you're hearing people scream and you're people hearing cry and you're having people having these spasms and they're having all these amazing mystical experiences. What does that do? Now you're judging you having the lack of that experience, and it creates this illusion that you're not doing what needs to happen. But the moment it does happen, you realize that the only person that was in the way between you and that experience was you. There's many ways to look at surrender, but how long have you been feeling unworthy? I'm not good enough. Your parents were broke and your parents told you, we can't afford this. Your parents told you, you're not good enough, or you're not as smart as your cousin. And, all this stuff. And it just piles up on top of what? There's this giant pile of crap sitting on top of this beautiful you, which is what? Pure consciousness, pure love, and is just hiding underneath all this programming. And what are we doing? What are we attempting in these meditations and the Q&As and this community? We are slowly uncovering the real you. We're not transforming you. We are revealing you, the real you. We're trying to just remove trash so that you can see the who you truly are, which is pure love. So somebody asked me the other day, what does it feel like to be in love with yourself? Well, it's not a feeling. Well, it's not. What does it look like? No, it's not like, it doesn't look like anything. It's a feeling. But the only way for you to understand what it feels like to be in love with yourself is to remove these programs from you. There's different ways to do that. One way is breath work. You can push it up and just alleviate it. You can bless your energy centers and you can push it away from yourself. And the other way is to start continuously start reprogramming yourself, which will also do a lot of the cleanup. There's many ways to look at this. Now, one mistake people can make is take my words literally. Another way I suggest to understand my words is to look at what am I pointing at, as opposed to taking my words literally and then further confusing yourself. You are pure consciousness, which is literally made of love. Now, why do I use the word love? Because I don't know what else there is to use the word. So when you have your awakening, when you have your mystical experience, it will feel like every cell in your body is having an orgasm. Now, how do you describe that in words? You can't.
Right.
No.
So it's just your brain and heart coherence. All of a sudden, your heart and brain is having an orgasm. That is not an orgasm humans are used to.
Right.
And when that happens, your brain changes. In 4 days of advanced meditation, 90% of the people have more than 80% of their brain changed. They don't go back home with the same brain.
Wow.
They don't go back home with the same blood. Their blood start to create anti-carcinogenic molecules. You become a person that can repel cancer. It's crazy how much your body changes in 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I walked in, I was asthmatic. As soon as I took my COVID shot, I got asthma, I got eczema, and I had this since my military. I had this elbow pain, chronic elbow pain that prevented me from doing push-ups and workouts. It was just very, very sharp pain. It was extreme pain that I couldn't deal with. On day 4, all three of them were gone.
Wow.
I had no asthma, not taking medication, eczema's gone, chronic pain's gone, everything's gone.
Amazing.
And I spoke to so many people. I spoke to 2,000 people. And it was just this just miracle after miracle after miracle. And I was like, no. It's not that I'm witnessing miracle. I am discovering that we are the miracle makers.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just never told how powerful we are.
Yeah.
Jeff and Jackie, yes,
Yeah.
am I saying it correctly?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you new to this work, or you're doing it for a while?
No, I'm relatively new,
Well, we've been listening to
Mhm.
Joe Dispenza for over a year.
but not really
We just
practicing.
started doing meditation.
Had knowledge for a year, but 3
Mhm.
months, 2 months, started doing the meditation. So
Are you doing this breath work that he's teaching us? Did you try that?
today I did, but I have not been doing
Yeah,
that.
today
So
was my first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I did
So
feel
what?
it. I
yeah,
felt something.
So what David was saying also, that this breathwork might be a shortcut. I mean, maybe not, but it's one way to move up energy quickly, because you asked initially, how can I get this thing quickly? I mean, it doesn't work that way so much, but breathwork is one of the ways to like transfer that energy quickly and maybe have
right. I understand what you're
some
saying.
experience.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and the fact that you have just started to do the breath work, you're going to go through a couple different phases of, wait a minute, I'm turning blue, my head has too much pressure, I'm about to pop a vein, all that
I
stuff.
felt that
Well,
today.
and if you're about to pop a vein, you're doing it wrong. If you're about to turn blue, you're doing it wrong. And you're going to, have you guys seen my video where I did breath work right on live camera?
I think you did 2 or 3, and like you said, if you did one more,
I
you would
did
have
too.
flopped like a fish or something.
Yeah.
I believe I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. Um, it's you have to play with it, because everybody does something a little bit different in their body, because obviously your body's a little bit different than mine. I mean, we look
Sure.
alike as
Right.
humans, but it's just a slight difference on how you pressurize your stomach. And then when I do 3 things at the same time, let's say when I do a Kegel and then try to pull my stomach in at the same time, and I have all the air, ideally I have already taken a breath from my chest, and then I do something with my throat to just pretend that I'm sucking fluid up to my 6 and 7.
Uh-huh.
And when I, and by the way, you guys, be hydrated. You have to be hydrated,
Drink a lot of
because
water.
spinal fluid is 90+% water. If you're not hydrated, you're pushing fluid in a pipe that doesn't even have enough fluid.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
It's like Alex. Alex showed his water.
If you're
Yeah.
not hydrated, there's no point of doing breath work, in my opinion, because you'll be disappointed every time.
Right.
Yes. You
Okay.
have to be hydrated. Yes. And don't just be that person that just chugs a lot of water, because what are you doing? Now you're pissing away all the electrolytes. You need to also be taking in some electrolytes, you know?
Okay.
Because what are the charged molecules in your spinal fluid? Those are salts and proteins, and they create this charge within your cerebrospinal fluid. You need electrolytes not only for the breath work, but when you do your meditation, and your autonomic nervous system gives new chemical signals to the cells in your body. How does your cell know how to take that information in? They suck fluid in. How do they do that? They can't do that without electrolytes. They can't do that without salts.
Wow.
So your cells cannot take information into your inside of the cells without electrolytes and salts and water. And if you do a really good meditation, you will be really dehydrated.
Okay.
Because all of that water goes into the cells, which cannot go into the cells without electrolytes and salts.
when we speak about, when you mention about how important it is to stay hydrated and everything, do you know this thing about, it's a trend now where you add a pinch of Himalayan sea salt into your water to make it, do you do that? Is that a good
I chug,
idea or not?
so when I wake up in the morning, I chug 2 glasses of water and I spray. I have this, let me, I don't know if I threw it away or not. I think I threw it away. Let me see. Oh, nope, I got it. So I have this lemon juice extract. I'm sure most people have it, right? This lemon juice.
Sure.
This is just
Yeah.
lemon juice extract. And I spray that into the water. I just shake some Himalayan salt into the water, mix it, chug it. I do 2 of those every morning, and it gives you all the electrolytes and salt that you need for the day.
How much salt you actually put in?
Not much, not much. It doesn't take much.
Just a pinch,
Just a
right?
small,
It's
just a pinch. Just a small pinch.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was doing that for a while, but then I was thinking, is this a good thing to add salt to the water every day?
You need
I was
salt.
not-
If you exercise or if you meditate, you have to have salt.
Okay, great.
Salt is
I'm gonna come
extremely
back to
important
that.
because salt is the barrier crossing between the cell membranes. Because salt opens up the cell membranes channels. They're called sodium channels. So sodium and potassium channels within the salt that allows water to go in and out of the cells. So you need potassium and you need salts and sodium. Sodium, potassium channels. Yeah. And so you can't live without salt, obviously. And
Jeff,
when you do this work initially, just like Jeff has been doing lately, Jeff, the moment you start having dramatic experiences in meditations, you will sweat a lot. You will get heated a lot. You will all of a
Really?
sudden feel like there's just, wait a minute, why am I so hot? And you will also have this third symptom that might happen is that even though you're sweating, you will start to feel this breeze that is touching you, even though there's no breeze in the room. So you will start to have these experiences. But one of the things that will happen is that you will be in a shortage of water and you will be a shortage of salt.
yeah. I'm trying to find for Jeff, there is when I purchased those 11 breathing tracks, for breaths, Inspire, that he released. There is also a 25-minute video on how he explains to do the breath as well. Maybe it will be useful for
Yeah.
people to see.
And Jeff
Yeah.
has
I don't
access
know.
to, Jeff, you're a part of the Telegram group, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir, I am.
You have access to our folder, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The running threads. Yeah.
Yes. No, the
They don't
folder
have
where we have our meditations.
they
Uh,
don't have it there. It's not in those folders. This video I'm talking about. But I will try to download it from the website and post it to the group later.
okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
So yeah,
I think we're good, guys. Thank you. This was a very good session. I
thank
will
you.
schedule
Thank you,
another
David.
one and I'll send out the invite and we'll talk later.
Appreciate you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great
Thank you.
night.